We're going to run through a how-to when it comes to taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. But shoot your shot for me in the comment section right now. Predict the score, Falcons versus Chiefs. I'm going to give my score prediction in the video, so stick around for that. But let's jump into another edition of Falcons Today. What's going on, Falcons fans? Falcons Chiefs kicking off in only a matter of hours. So I want to run through a how-to when it comes to taking down the Chiefs and running through some of their biggest weaknesses. We did this last week for the Eagles, and the 3 weaknesses we identified that week which were bad run defense. Bijan ran all over them. Blitzing Jalen Hurts. Caden Ellis did that to lead to an interception by Jesse Bates, and attacked their new DBs. Darnell Mooney scored on C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So check, check, check. So hopefully we'll go 3 for 3 again here. But the first weakness I've noticed from Kansas City, it's a lack of a run game. And this is mostly because of Isaiah Pacheco's injury. Their star running back broke his leg after week 2. And as a result, they are putting together kind of like a 2017 who's who of fantasy running back. So with Pacheco on injured reserve and lost for the next month and a half, it's Samaje Perine, Kareem Hunt from the practice squad, and then UDFA Carson Steele, sort of next man up here, which probably going to be a committee backfield for Kansas City. So we'll get you guys familiar with these 3 backs, but at the end of the day, you got to smell blood in the water right now with Pacheco down and Samaje Perine, who's more of a receiving back first and a pass protector than a true running back, kind of next guy up here. UDFA Carson Steele, who I know Andy Reid likes a lot, but I don't think he's a traditional 3-down running back. He's more of a fullback or a short yardage situation, but he's kind of a crazy guy or all-time football guy. And then you've got Kareem Hunt, who at one point was at the top of the mountain, right? He led the NFL in rushing as a rookie. Ultimately, some off-the-field incidents got him released from the Chiefs. He had some good years with the Browns, but I think he is somewhat washed when it comes to his speed and his burst. But he was the first running back Kansas City called when Pacheco went down, so clearly they still think he's got some gas left in the tank. Now, that being said, I feel like this is a great opportunity for Atlanta to capitalize on a lack of identity in the run game with Pacheco gone and the Falcons being the first test for Kansas City to roll out their new ground game. So the talk of the town the last few days has been the NFL offenses league-wide kind of suck right now. I mean, everything's at like basically a career or season low, league low through 2 weeks so far. And one suggestion, and a horrible one too, that Mel Kiper had was, let's ban 2 high safeties because that is limiting the passing game, and quarterbacks are just going for shorter passes right now because they don't feel like they can get the deep ball down. Now, longtime safety Chris Harris said, hey, you don't want 2 high looks? Run the ball. Now, for Kansas City, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do with Pacheco down. But I went back and watched some of the tape of Chiefs-Bengals from week 2. And Patrick Mahomes, what do you know? One of his 2 interceptions in this game came when the Bengals lined up in a 2 high safety look. You got 2 safeties more than 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. And if we fast forward here to this next shot, this is just as Patrick Mahomes is releasing the football. And look at the 2 safeties. They've got the 2 nearest receivers somewhat guarded and covered. Now, Mahomes is still Mahomes, so I won't say that he can't make a completed pass to either one of those guys, but he opts to go with Travis Kelce over the middle of the field. And that's where he gets in trouble and he gets picked off. Now, having those 2 high safeties kind of takes away the deeper route concept, so Mahomes decides, let's go with the shorter option. Ultimately, not a good decision. It's a pick for the Bengals, but if you make Mahomes, and I might regret this, like take away the deep shots because of Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons, and all of a sudden they've got to run the ball with Kareem Hunt and Samaje Perine, or test Bates and Simmons, which is not a good idea for Mahomes, even though he is Patrick Mahomes. I still don't think going up against Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons time and time again over the middle of the field is going to yield you a positive result. You might be able to escape with a, less than normal Mahomes teams tend to get week to week. So a lack of a ground game might force Mahomes to try and go deep more often than he normally would, and that's where you're going to run into issues with a couple of All-Pro and Pro Bowl guys in Bates and Simmons. Now, before we look at the next two weaknesses for the Chiefs that Atlanta must exploit, we are doing a sub battle with our Chiefs channel here at Chat Sports, and we are taking it to them right now. But don't take your foot off the gas. Let's step on their throats and let's win this sub battle. Hit that subscribe button down below if you want to beat Kansas City on the field on Sunday night. All right, second weakness here. You got a rookie left tackle going for this Chiefs offensive line. Matthew Judon, Lorenzo Carter, maybe even a little bit of Grady Jarrett, probably not, but if you want to do some stunts and get creative, they got to attack this kid. And I'll expand on this in more detail in just a moment. But today's show is made possible thanks to our great sponsor, Prize Picks. That's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. I'm talking turning $10 into $1,000. Now, for the entire month of September, the Prize Picks app has Caleb Williams' passing yards at half a yard. So that's a free more right there. And then I took the more on Kirk Cousins' passing yards after making it a goblin, which lowers the stat projection, but it does not net you a great payout, or a bigger payout, I should say. But I still like taking the more on Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson. And all of a sudden, I go 2 for 3 here thanks to their flex play. I can still come home with some cash. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get you $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. So getting back to the weaknesses for the Chiefs, we need to talk about exploiting. The left tackle for Kansas City, Kingsley Suamataia. He comes over from BYU, and he is a victim, I would say, of what is the Atlanta Falcons' defensive game plan going into this week. There just needs to be a focal point made by this Chiefs defensive line, by this Falcons defensive line to smell blood in the water a little bit with some rookie fresh blood at left tackle and go, let's attack. Let's keep sending bodies his way and force him to beat us and not let him off the hook here. So if we look at the Kansas City Chiefs front five on the offensive side of the football here, you're going to see they've got a lot of really good pieces, right? They've got Trey Smith. They've got Creed Humphrey. But at the other side, you've got a lot of really good pieces on this Atlanta defensive line. Zach Harrison, David Onyemata, Grady Jarrett. So I'm challenging those guys, plus Matthew Judon and Lorenzo Carter, to wreak havoc on Kingsley, who is making just his 3rd career NFL start. And through 2 games so far, he hasn't been downright bad, but he hasn't been like Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell, or Tristan Wirfs good right out of the gun. So if you look at the PFF grades through his first 2 games, 48.9 against the Ravens, 43.3 against the Bengals. This to me is a weakness, and I hope it's something, and it's a matchup that Atlanta takes advantage of, right? Don't just kind of play one-on-one with Kingsley. Let's throw a bunch of different looks at him. Let's make him uncomfortable. Let's put more on his plate than any team has done up to this point, because I'm sure Patrick Mahomes would not like to be running around for his life, and that's usually when you get a few mistakes out of Mahomes. Again, he's Patrick Mahomes. He's the best in the NFL right now. I'm not going to try and downplay him, but I always go back to that Chiefs-Bucs Super Bowl when the Buccaneers demolished Kansas City. And how do they do it? Well, Eric Fisher, their all-pro, Pro Bowl left tackle, was not in the game because he got injured in the AFC Championship game, and the Buccaneers capitalized on that. Hopefully Atlanta can do the same with an inexperienced left tackle protecting Mahomes' blind side. And then third and final weakness, just some unusual turnovers so far by KC that I don't want to let Atlanta go undetected and let them off the hook for. We shared this graphic earlier this week, but I think it's a really important and insightful graphic, and there's a lot we can learn from it. So what we have here on screen for you is Patrick Mahomes' stats through the first 2 weeks on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, it is the average of the first 2 games from the 2018 to the 2023 season. In the first 2 games of the last 6 years, he was averaging 6 touchdowns, essentially. Through 2 games so far this year, 3 touchdowns. He was averaging half an interception in weeks 1 through 2 the previous 6 years. Weeks 1 through 2 of 2024, 3 interceptions. Sacks, more than double than what he usually gives up on average in weeks 1 through 2. Kansas City does not have an Achilles heel. Like, I wish I could tell you there is hey, if you squeeze this one pressure point, you're going to win. But they can be mortal at times. When they commit 2 or more turnovers since Mahomes took over in 2018, while they still have a winning record, it's not nearly as good when they only commit 0 to 1 turnovers. 20-14 is a much better piece of the pie than 55-10 when they either don't turn it over at all or it's just 1 turnover. So obviously, Captain Obvious here, force a bunch of turnovers and you're going to be in good shape. But to me, I think if you put some pressure on the left tackle and you eliminate the ground game, forcing Mahomes to attack that too high safety look where you've got 2 incredible safeties with Bates and Simmons, and you start forcing some turnovers, you're going to have a much better chance of being in the win column than when you don't force any turnovers or just 1 turnover at all. So who you got in this game, Falcons or Chiefs? Let me know in the comment section below. I want to see only ATLs. It's almost time. It's almost here. Let's get some good vibes going, some good mojo. I'm going to take the Falcons to win this one. I thought about falling on my sword and going Chiefs win, which I did last week for the Eagles when I openly said I'm going to pick the Eagles so that I am wrong, since I was wrong week 1. But this time, I'm going to go with my gut, and my gut tells me Falcons win it 23-21.